Dear sponsors, I am looking for $10,000 from your organization in cash, check, or in kind. With your $10,000, I am going to bring together homeless people from all over Canada. I'm going to make it a way for them to come and be part of a pilot project where we're going to change their lives. I want to show you how food, live foods, live water can change that human to become stronger, to want to create change for themselves. That's the pilot project I want to do with my family. The research I did on myself to understand their lives. But I want to do something else. I want to bring together grandmothers from Treaty 1 to Treaty 11. Grandmothers who can represent their Nusumsak, their grandchildren who are on the streets homeless. So with your money, I'm going to help bring the grandmothers together. Travel? Yes. By train? Yes. By plane? Yes. Your money is going to help bring that. Food. I want to have live food. I would love to have fish from this river, Saskatchewan River. So your money is going to help create a little mini economy for the homeless people. I'm going to say I want fish. So homeless people will say, bring me fish, smoke it. I'm going to pay them so much per pound for that fish. A homeless economy. I need linen. I said the homeless people, break down that linen I have. I'll have an acre of it. I said, you give me 100 grams of it, I'll pay you $10 for that. By the fruits of your own hands is your labor. We will benefit from what we create together, homeless people. The grandmothers, I'm bringing them together to create a country for the homeless people on the streets. That is my way I'm going to solve homelessness. I got a call from a representative, Adrian. He works for some political party. And then he gave me a call. I sent out an email saying, asking for $10,000 to these political party who have no money, because they usually go out begging for your money. And he says, how are you going to solve homelessness? And I told them, I'm going to create the Grandmothers Council government to practice our sovereignty, to put together a treaty cards, bringing together from Treaty 1 to Treaty 11. And you have a treaty tent. Inside the camp is going to be a main tent and a treaty tent. You sponsors. Across the screen is going to be your logo. And they'll be like, these are the ones who helped across the screen. And that's where you come in. And then I'm going to tell these people, it's like you promote them. Okay, on TikTok, it's like you go to their page and you go like, and they'll make sure that all your posts go viral. I understand marketing. I've been practicing it for a long time. I want to tell you about an event I did, okay? I made history with this event and I did it in 3 weeks. I put together an event called Strength of Our Women. Fuck, that was a fun event. Excuse my French. I was working as the EA to Vice Chief Kimberly Jonathan. We made history together, her and I, my grandmother. I first met First Vice Chief Kim Jonathan at an event I was at. She came to my booth and I was Tansy clothing at the time. That was my hat I was wearing. And I was just myself, arrogant little fuck. And then she comes over to my booth. She's like, hi. And I was like, hello, what's your name? She's like, there. And she's like running for first vice chief of FSIN. And I thought, oh, cool. I said, that would be the first woman if you got in, I thought. And I said, let me see your card, right? Because you have to have a campaign card. And then she showed me her card, and I looked at her card, and I just there, and I said, you're going to lose. And then another customer happened to come, and she looked like she had money. So I was like, you're going to lose. And I gave her back her card, and I went back to my customer. I said, can I help you? And she stood there, and she was just like, like, who are you to go and say I'm going to lose? It's like, I didn't even start yet, right? Of course, she was curious. I knew what I was doing. I needed her to go and ask me, right? Because I wanted her to hire me. And I was willing to work for free. But I wasn't going to tell her that. I had to go and do my pitch. That was my pitch. They're going to lose. Give it back. Like, fuck you, right? Someone tells you that, you're like, explain yourself. So, I did. My customer left and she was still standing there, right? And I was kind of just pretending I didn't see her. And I was working her. But I needed to create history. And I knew, like, she has potential, right? I was kind of eyeing her up in a marketing point of view, and it's like, she's pretty. I can see a man gravitating towards her. Didn't choose, right? Now, this kind of just, whatever, do my job. And finally, she's just like, excuse me. I was like, yes, ma'am. Like, being very polite. Yes, ma'am. She's like, what do you mean I'm going to lose? I said, well, let me just see your card. And she gives me her card. Marketing 101. Thank you, David Williams of Edward School of Business. You changed my life. Thank you, Professor. So, when you're changing people's world, friends, emotions get in your way sometimes. So I asked Kim Jonathan. She says, well, why? I said, well, your card sucks. No offense, ma'am. I just being very honest. I said, it sucks. I said, it looks like it was made in the 80s. And so when they look at you, they're going to think 80s. They're not going to think future. And she's like, oh, yeah. I said, tell you what. The sponsor fucking thinking and crying. And I was like, fuck off. I go, tell you what. She's like, what? I said, I'll do your marketing for free. I says, you just pay for the costs. And he says that I'll help you. And I says, on the keynote almost. I said, I don't really tell people. I said, I'll just do your marketing. She's like, okay. So I just did and whatnot. And all her stuff, her speeches, I didn't touch that. It was my business. None of it. She had her own voice. She was the future Treaty 6 representative for the Grandmothers Council. This lady. That's the reason I met her. And that's the reason I became her EA. And 6 more minutes. In 3 weeks, her and I created history. I put together that event in 3 weeks and I found sponsors and I made a lot of money. I sold that event in 3 times. 300 people. Sold out. And I put it online. Sold out! Kim Jonathan gives me a call. She's just like, what the fuck do you mean it's sold out? She swore. She's mad. She's just like, I have people yelling at me right now saying it's sold out. Just like they want tickets. I was like, holy shit, it's sold out. She's just like, get more now. I was just like, oh shit, my boss will. I was like, holy fuck, I got in trouble because I sold out. I was just like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm sorry, I did my job. And then I phoned TCU. I says, we need more seats. They said, fine, 400. I said, good. I phoned the boss. Says 400. She makes a thing. And all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, sold out. That's when people started to believe in me. Because I had support. I had FSIN helping me at that time. Right now, FSIN, will you help me? I'm publicly saying that I'm going to fucking destroy you. You don't support us anymore, FSIN. Your grandmothers are my employees. I found my employees, Grandmothers Council. I'm bringing them together and I says, you work for us now, the people. You do not work for the government. Because FSIN, you don't work for us anymore. When I worked there, I understood who's your boss. The one who pays your paycheck. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. So I'm going to set it up that way, that you become my boss. So I will not bite the hand that feeds me, you. But my supporters who support what I do, everything I do for the people, and you understand that I am just here for the people, nothing else. I want your $10,000, yes. I thank you for your support. I thank you for your help. Our world is going to change, First Nation. And you're going to do it for us. Thank you for your time.